Hi, beautiful souls. Yari here. Welcome to Into the Clairs. It's Claire Week. Yeah, I'm so excited to walk with you through this journey. All week, we'll be exploring the different intuitive senses, the clairs. These are the ways spirit, the universe, and even your higher self communicate with you. Think of them as your spiritual senses. Just like our physical senses of sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste, we also have intuitive versions of those senses. So, why does this matter? When you learn which clair is your strongest for you, everything about your spiritual connection gets easier. You'll stop wondering, am I making this up? And start realizing, oh, so this is how spirit speaks to me. And the best part, you already have all of them. Some are more developed than others, but with practice, you can strengthen every single one of them. Now, with that being said, because this is something that I get asked all of the time, and I tell people, just go with what comes naturally to you. Okay. That's important because people spend all this time and effort on strengthening clairs that don't come natural to them. Instead of strengthening what comes natural to you, it's going to be so much easier and it's going to be so much stronger. I know very, very strong mediums that can't see spirit, and that's okay. Their communication is by other means, and that's okay. I can see, hear, and know. That's those are my strongest, right? Right. Especially seeing and hearing. I think knowing it comes naturally to most people. But smelling and smelling every once in a while. Tasting like every few years. Okay, it's years in between, episodes. So very, very weak. Does that make me less of a medium? No. Less of a psychic? No, because I have some abilities, you're gonna have others, and that is okay. But with this week, we're going to explore all of them, and we're going to have activations for all of them. So if there's something there that is bubbling up, that's budding, that's kind of showing itself, you're going to be able to strengthen it. Now, if nothing comes up for one or more of the clairs, don't worry about it. Okay, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. When spirit decides it's your time for that clair to come in, it will come. Okay. So don't put extra pressure that you don't need to put on yourself. All right. Now we're going to go through all of them together. Okay. Clairvoyance, clear seeing. This is when spirit communicates through images, colors, or mental snapshots. Okay. Maybe you see a quick flash of light, or a flash of an experience at the beach when somebody mentions a trip, or you see a mental picture during a meditation, whatever. This is connected to your third eye chakra. Now, sneak peek. Next week, we're going to be talking about all the chakras. And like with the clairs, that we're going to go one by one, day by day. We're going to do the same thing with the chakras, and we're going to connect them. And I'm going to show you how to balance your chakra so you strengthen your clair. Okay, that goes with it. Sneak peek. All right. Now, another question that I get all the time is like, do you actually see, or do you know that you see? Okay. Both. Okay. 97, 98% of the time, I do not see a physical manifestation of spirit. I see it in my third eye. Okay. I see it in my brain. I don't see it with my physical eyes. sometimes, incredibly, as a matter of fact, when I'm doing this, when I'm recording, something over here is happening. Not right now, but I've had many, many instances that I can see that there's somebody here. And the other day, I was recording a class and they were flashing a light in my eyes. I was like, what? Yeah. Now, sometimes when I'm out and about, I can see something like in the corner of my eyes, like in my peripheral vision, sometimes much less. I will see somebody going across my, you know, uh, field of view, but not very much. Most of the time, what I see my third eye. I see in my brain, not with not with my physical eyes. Okay. All right. And both are fine. Not all spirits are going to have a physical manifestation. That takes a lot of energy too. And if they don't have to, they rather talk to you than physically appear in front of you. Okay. Now, the second one is clairaudience, which is clear hearing. This is when you receive intuitive messages as words or sounds or tones or voices or music, and you might hear your name being called when no one's around or get a phrase in your mind that feels like, did it come from you? Okay. And this is linked to your throat chakra. Again, the same thing. Sometimes I do hear my name call and I turn and there's nobody there. I've had I had an experience when I was, I don't know, probably 15 years old, 16 years, something like that. Uh, younger, a little younger. That I heard my mom coming through the hallway. We have a condo in Puerto Rico, and I could hear her footsteps. Her steps were very strong, right? Very, very strong-footed woman. And I could hear her footsteps coming down the hallway. I could hear her uh, keys jingling in her hand and her opening the door and closing the door and going. It was a it's a two floor condo, and I could hear her going up the stairs and putting her purse on her bed and putting her keys on her purse, which was her usual movement getting into the house, and then nothing. And I come out. Actually, I could smell Kentucky Fried Chicken of all things, and I was like, "Mom, mom," and I go, "Nobody home." Few minutes later, you better believe it, she came home with some Kentucky Fried Chicken. So sometimes I hear with my physical ears, right? But again, 97, 98% of the time, I hear a message in my brain. Now, again, because I'm not hearing it with my physical ears, I say, and I think most people say, I hear this, but we're not actually hearing. We know the message. Okay? I hope that makes sense. But I say I hear because it's almost like I almost have to stop to hear it. All right? Like I would if I'm listening to something, but it's not with my physical ears. I hear it in my brain. Okay. Now, clairsentience is clear feeling. And this is when you pick up intuitive information through emotional, physical sensations or vibes. You know, like when you walk into a room and you're like, oh, something is off here. We've all been there, right? We've all felt that. Or you see somebody and you're like, oh, he's sad. What's going on? And their face is fine and they haven't done or said anything, but you can feel it. Okay. Or you walk into a place and you're like, I'm not safe here. It's a vibe. You feel that. For example, I work very closely with Archangel Michael and, of course, my main guide, Axel, and their energies are different and I can feel them. Michael usually comes from this side, from the right side, and it's like a wave. Okay, I feel something going up and down. When Axel comes in, he comes in from the front, and it's like a tingling. So their energies are different, and well, I just know who they are. But if I needed a physical sensation, that would be it, because their energies just feel different. Okay. Also, when I'm doing like a mediumship reading or a tarot reading and I'm into something really important, I get waves of goosebumps, like waves so strongly that I have sometimes to like hold on to something, and I'm like, okay, give me a second, because I need to wait until it passes, because it's so strong. So your body has a very strong physical manifestation of these vibes, okay? And that is connected sometimes, sometimes you just know that somebody feels something. Um, and it's not that you feel sad or feel angry, you just know it, right? This is connected to your solar plexus and to your heart chakra, all right? Now, claircognizance, clear knowing, and most everybody has this. That's been my experience. And this is when you know something without knowing how you know that, okay? Maybe you instantly know who's calling you before you look at your phone, or, just know the outcome of a situation. The other day, I had a meeting with my marketing director. We had scheduled a meeting at 10 o'clock, and it was close to 10 o'clock, and I was like, oh, he's going to call and cancel. Something came up. Couple minutes later, he called and he was like, "Can we reschedule for 10:30?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. It's fine." Um, and sometimes, and this is part of downloads, okay? Um, and downloads, they don't feel like anything, but it's almost like you do feel like your brain almost has been invaded, or it's been filled. Invaded is a strong word. It's been filled with information that you didn't have a second before. Okay. And this happens to all of us. You just know. It's just that you think that is something else, right? And I remember the first time I consciously knew that. I was This was years and years and years and years and years ago. I was walking around. um I was exercising. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I all of a sudden I had this thought. I said, I need to align my chakras. I had no idea. I mean, I knew what chakras were, like vaguely. I had like a general idea what it was, but it's not like now that I know. I didn't know how many there were there. I didn't know anything about that. I just knew that they were like energy centers. Okay, that was it. So how did I knew that I needed? And then I gave myself a schedule. It was crazy. And I just knew that that was my very first download. But things, for example, I had a student that she was taking leadership class in person, and I didn't know this woman for anything. She was just in my class, and this was our third class. She approached me before the class, and she said, "I would like, to get with you whenever you have a chance, because my daughter will like to take tarot classes." Sure, yeah, we'll talk about that. So we start the class, blah blah. At the end of the class, we're wrapping up. The students are still there. We're just wrapping up. We're just talking, and then I turn to her and I say, "Hey, I will be happy to teach Vivika tarot." And she was looking at me. She was like, "How do you know her name?" I'm like, You told me?" She's like, "No, I didn't." And the other students were like, "We never heard her say that." And I'm like, "You must have told me." She's like, "No, I didn't." And I know that because I never call her Vivica. That's her name. But I always call her Vivi. And after knowing both of them, for 2 years. She never calls her baby guy. She always calls her baby. How did I know that? I don't know. I just know. Anyhow, so that's the clear knowing, okay? And that's tied to your crown chakra. All right. Now, there comes clear smelling and clear tasting. Okay. These are less common, but still very powerful when they happen. And one of you all day, I know because I've talked to you, you can taste energy, which is mic drop, right? I think that's just so cool. Um, so clear smelling is like when you are just going about your business and all of a sudden you smell a loved one's perfume when they're not there or when they have passed many years before and you just smell it. People smell perfumes, people smell cigars. And I know each and every one of you had smelled or tasted your grandmother's cooking. I don't know where. And you think, oh, I'm just thinking about her. No, that's her coming through and letting you know that she's right there with you. Okay. Those are beautiful signs that spirit uses to connect in personal ways. Okay. Now, here's the thing. You might be strong in one clair or a blend of a few. There is no right or wrong way to do this. Okay. Some of you may already recognize yourself in some of these examples or these stories that I've told you. Others may realize, okay, I've been using this ability my whole life and I didn't know. So this week is about exploration. By the end, you will know your strongest clair and you'll have practices to strengthen all of them. But if something this does not, please do not worry about it, okay? Don't worry about it. Now, before we close today, let's do a quick activation to lightly open up all of your clairs, okay? So get comfy in your chair or bed or whatever you are. Not if you're driving, please. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in and out. And imagine you're standing in a beautiful field, safe and peaceful. In front of you is a glowing sphere of light. This light holds all the clairs: sight, sound, feeling, knowing, smelling, tasting. You're going to reach your hands towards it and allow the light to gently flow into your body, into your third eye for clear seeing, into your throat for clear hearing, into your heart and your solar plexus for clear feeling, into your crown for clear knowing, nose and mouth for clear smelling and tasting. Now take a deep breath and just allow, knowing your intuitive senses are awakening in perfect timing for you. And when you're ready, open your eyes, and that's it. You just welcome Spirit to speak to you in all the ways possible. Now, this week, we'll explore each clair more deeply with daily pose and activation practices. And tomorrow, we'll start with clairvoyance, clear seeing. And I'll give you an exercise to really strengthen your inner sight. Pro tip. One of those breathing exercises that I showed you last week, the one that you push with your tummy and blow air through your nose, is really good to open the third eye. That one's for free. I can't wait to hear your experiences. So share in the group when something comes through for you, okay? This is going to be a magical week of discovery. Let's get started.